Hi, this is Kate from Generate Magic. So on my last video, I found myself making a really long comment, and so I felt like that was a sign that I needed to make a follow-up video. And so in the last video, I was talking about loving it all, essentially loving every aspect of yourself, every aspect of your life, even the parts that you deem to be ugly, messy, chaotic, unlovable, loving those parts as well. And so essentially what I was referring to, some people would call radical acceptance and resisting nothing. And I want to make a distinction here that radical acceptance is not the same as settling or tolerating. And radical acceptance is a state of ultimate empowerment. And it's really standing in your I am and saying that I am in charge, not the conditions, not even my thoughts and feelings, but as my I am awareness, I get to decide what all of it means. Because as I've said before, nothing has any inherent meaning outside of the meaning that we give it. And so are we going to say our lives are terrible, our lives are boring, messy, chaotic, ugly, shameful? Or are we going to say that our lives are a beautiful masterpiece no matter what is happening? And so I really feel like it's the most empowering stance that you can take. And I wanted to follow up too on another concept that I've discussed, that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And you are the beholder, so that places you in the ultimate place of power. And it's really the ultimate act of alchemy, and especially being able to see beauty and being able to see perfection where perhaps others might not be able to. And so I was thinking about a film and the lens that you use as a filmmaker or as a photographer. It makes a huge difference in the overall experience for the viewers. And so a film can either have like a very kind of grainy, very dissonant feel. It could be very ethereal. It's just very, so again, it's not saying that one is better than the other, but it's just the lens that the filmmaker uses makes a huge difference on the experience for the viewer. And similarly, the camera angles, the soundtrack makes a huge difference, right? And a film that has like amazing like lighting and cinematography and an incredible soundtrack, like it can transform even just like a mediocre script or a shabby location into this incredible masterpiece. And especially thinking about like in the olden days when films were typically not shot on location, they were shot on sets in Hollywood. And so the filmmakers had to be very innovative, and they had to use these raw materials, and which many might deem as being kind of these inferior raw materials, to really just create something magical. And so a lot of people refer to film or cinema as magic, and to me that is really true magic. And really, again, it's an act of alchemy. It's taking the raw materials that you're presented with and really just transforming it into something that's really magnificent. And I also talked in my last video about those parts of yourself that you don't want to reveal to others, like you're ashamed of them, and perhaps it's just parts of yourself that you might feel embarrassed about or even humiliated by. And I feel like literature, but especially film, has this ability to take moments like this and again to transform these types of moments into something that's really beautiful and truly a masterpiece and something that we can all connect with. And one scene that immediately comes to mind is in Boogie Nights, one of my favorite all-time movies. And it's a scene where Philip Seymour Hoffman professes his love to Mark Wahlberg. And he goes all out, he buys him this fancy sports car, and it's this really, the way P.T. Anderson films this whole scene is just masterful. The way he kind of builds up the anticipation, and you know, at first you think, oh, he's just, you know, he's just getting a gift for him. And then when he professes his love, it's this moment that for me as a viewer, like it was almost, there was something very poignant about it, but also something kind of, yeah, like it was almost kind of like I felt sort of like a secondhand embarrassment in that, like while I was watching it, because I've been in similar situations, not that I've ever bought somebody a sports car, but I think you know what I'm referring to. And yeah, it's almost, it kind of borders on the verge of being like a painful scene to watch, but there's something about it that's just so beautiful and so profound. And I would say it's probably one of my favorite scenes of all time in a movie. And it's something that I can watch like over and over again. And like every time there's just new layers that reveal themselves. And so I think this, and like even now, like as I'm describing it, I find myself like getting a little bit emotional. And so again, this is a reminder to really just embrace all of it, to don't, you know, these parts of yourself or these parts of your life that you're tempted just to throw to, like when you're a kid, right? And your parents ask you to clean the room, and like all those, the messy parts and all the trash you just kind of shove under the bed or you shove it under a rug. And so there's all these aspects of ourselves that we're tempted just to shove under the rug and not to let anybody else see them. And I'm still, it's a process. There's still like parts of myself that I don't feel fully comfortable revealing to the world, but it's a process, and more so each day. And so the more that you do this, the more, even if you're not ready to reveal these parts to others, at least if you just give them some love, or at the very least, if you quit hanging on to the feelings of shame, the feelings of self-hatred, just any sort of, I guess you would call it sort of dissonant or self-judgmental feelings, you know, around this, and really just start integrating all of it and seeing how all of it, and I've given this example before, but if you look at a painting, you see that there's light, and there's parts that are light, and there's parts that are dark, and or just like in a movie, you know, we take Boogie Nights, you know, there's other scenes in the movie that we could consider to be very dark, and so, like there's the scene with you know, Roller Girl, Heather Graham, where she kind of goes out in the public again, but it's after her career is kind of over, and it ends up being like a bad scene, and she ends up actually beating up some men with her rollerblades. And so again, it's a very kind of dark scene, but there's something very powerful and very poignant about it. And so instead of rejecting these parts that seem like dark or dissonant or ugly, and just embracing them and just seeing how it all fits into the tapestry of your greater life experience. And the more you do so, the more you'll start to just feel harmony with yourself and with your life, and the more that you'll see that it's all good, it's all God, and it's all perfect. And I talked before about seeing the divine perfection behind all appearances, but you'll really start to see the divine perfection in all appearances as well, and you'll start to see the beauty in all appearances, and that is a place of true imperturbability. And that is a place, that's really what they refer to as the peace that surpasses all understanding. And saying, no matter what I'm experiencing, either internally or in my perceived external reality, like I'm still going to see beauty, I'm still going to see love, I'm still going to see that divine perfection, I'm still going to feel the love, the bliss, the harmony, the peace. That's truly who we are, who we already are, right? And just see the presence of God and feel the presence of God in everything. And to have this unwavering commitment to enjoy the hell out of your life no matter what. So with that, thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.